Citizenship last year, citing overtaxation and difficult banking regs. These former Americans are simply fed up. Tea Party headliner and South Carolina lawmaker Joe Wilson is on the case. He joins us now. Congressman, you've reached across the aisle and formed a bipartisan bond with New York Democrat Carolyn Maloney, but it sounds like your concerns are falling on deaf ears. What are your concerns and what do you want to see happen?
Well, I'm really grateful with Congresswoman Maloney. We're the co-chairs of the Americans Abroad Caucus, and so we've requested of the Financial Services Committee to have a hearing, Eric, on the problem of persons abroad, nearly 6.2 million Americans who have difficulty in getting bank accounts within the United States. They have difficulty in regard to tax issues, but mainly in regard to banking. We want to have a hearing with Financial Services.
And, Congressman, I mean, we're talking about the renunciations, Americans living abroad and renunciating their citizenship. I mean, I could find that it was only, I think, about 1,000 last year out of the 6.2 million Americans living abroad. But the bigger question is, even though they may not be giving up their citizenship, they are still having trouble accessing their bank loans and their bank accounts. And this is because of these anti-terrorism laws. So how do we balance the two? Because we want to crack down on money laundering by terrorists, but you don't want to affect Americans living abroad.
And you're absolutely correct. And the way to do that is have a hearing. We want to have know your customer. We want people to have addresses that can be verifiable, but an unintended consequence of the law has made it not possible for many people who are living around the world to have a bank account within the United States.
Well, Representative, explain to me why that's so important. Like, you know, 1,000 people out of 6 million are looking to leave the country. Is this really an issue that we should be focusing on?
Well, actually, the 1,000 relates to taxation. And there's a double tax, and that's an issue for Ways and Means. And so what we're trying to address right now is the question of being able to have a bank account. And then if they can't get a bank account in the United States, there are some countries they can't get a bank account there either. And so this needs to be addressed, and that's why I'm very confident if we have a hearing with the Financial Services Committee that we can have people who are Americans living in Saudi Arabia, living in Korea, living in England, they can come and explain the situation they have.
And, sir, just so our audience understands why this is going on with some recent, I guess, higher standards for terrorism regulations and transparency, some of the banks are being told to not allow outsiders to have accounts in the U.S. Is that right?
That's right, and there's a requirement of being able to verify your customer, being able to verify their address, and that's been interpreted to be within the United States when, in fact, they do not have an actual address within the United States. These are people who have retired to Costa Rica. These are people who have married, they're in the military, and then they marry someone in Japan and determine to live there. These are good Americans. They're great ambassadors for our country. They love America, and they want to maintain their relationship with our country.
And, Representative, how are these laws then working to prevent terrorists, prevent this money laundering that may support groups sympathetic to al-Qaeda?
And that is important because we need to know the customers, because there were millions of dollars being shifted around our country, around the world. The terrorists that we're facing, sadly, are very well financed. Also, equally said, they're very educated. They know how to get around our laws. And so we do have good changes in the laws, but the unintended consequence are Americans abroad are being impacted by not being able to have a bank account.
Representative, what is the best case scenario then? In 2 years, we'll look back and we'll see what?
We would have a provision that does look out for money laundering, for narco-terrorism, but indeed it allows the good Americans who are in 150 countries around the world an ability to have a checking account within the United States.
Checking account?
Representative, before we let you go, only about 20 seconds or so, sir, how's that fight, how's that November election looking, shaping up in your state there?
Well, I'm very excited. I believe the Republicans are going to do very well. People want change on November the 2nd.
That means thank you so much, Representative Wilson.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Change is always in the eye of the beholder. On tap, I'm about to get fired up in the shot clock, and in the Diamond District, an interesting take on how Wall Street's reckless behavior is burning holes in your wallet. Yes, Lynn Tilton.
She's back.
She is back. Woo! Finally, we've been missing her in True